Well, good morning, everyone. We're back with another COVID-19 community update here from the City of Brandon. And for clarity and context, we are broadcasting at 10 a.m. on Tuesday, May the 11th. By the way, just want to add in there, it's also Census Day, so I'll maybe put in a plug for everyone to pay attention and get that done as well. Also very vital information for every community. So March the 12th, 2020, almost 14 months ago to the day, the city's Emergency Operations Center was activated to deal with the oncoming of the COVID-19 global pandemic. And today, our emergency response has remained in continuous operation now for about 425 days straight. So clearly, none of us expected to be in this deep pandemic for nearly this long, and I'm certain most citizens, businesses, and organizations did not anticipate handling all of the restrictions, precautions, and impacts on our lives for such an extended period of time. In the past few days, we've been plunged into yet another round of more significant restrictions, seeing the closure once again of many businesses, or severe restrictions on the practices and capacities of many others, and additionally, in Manitoba's two largest cities, Winnipeg and Brandon, a return to remote learning for most K-12 students starting tomorrow. The impacts of all of these measures are always extremely profound and provide significant challenges for most of us. And most of us, we know that everyone is burnt out, COVID fatigued, sad, angry, frustrated, lonely, discouraged. You pick your descriptor. Prairie Mountain Health and Brandon have by and large done quite well for the duration of this pandemic. Certainly we've seen a few spikes, but on the whole, I'm extremely proud of our community and how everyone has embraced COVID, has largely followed the orders and procedures prescribed for us. Businesses and organizations have been incredibly creative, resourceful, and resilient in providing safe spaces, plexiglass barriers, physical distancing, PPE, hand sanitizer, and so on. Citizens have been very cooperative in following the fundamentals as best as they can, especially in the practice of wearing masks. However, despite these efforts, and in the face of new COVID variants that are more easily transmitted and more sickening in general, we, along with most of our province, have experienced a significant surge in cases. As of yesterday's numbers, Brandon alone had arrived at 100 active cases, with a total of 390 active cases in our Prairie Mountain Health region. Brandon has been averaging more than 10 new cases each day for more than a week. So in spite of our generally good record, we are obviously not immune to the surges being experienced elsewhere in our province. No one, of course, is happy to see more restrictions on our lives and our businesses and on our children. Public health officials have deemed it urgently necessary to provide this circuit breaker to once again get our cases tamped back down. However, finally, this time there is truly light in the tunnel. Unlike all of the previous restrictions, this time we have a real live remedy underway: vaccinations. At last count, Manitoba had approximately 480,000 adults with at least one dose administered, and expect to administer approximately 300,000 more by the end of May. By my math, this is not official, but that can lead to over 750,000 adults with one dose by month's end, which happens to be 70% of our population 18 and over. The number most scientists subscribe gets us to herd immunity. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you can see I'm wearing my Got Vaccinated sticker I put on especially for this morning. And when my number came up based on my age a few weeks ago, I took part in the super site here at the Keystone Centre, which is a fabulously smooth operation. I can't provide enough credit to all of those hardworking people over there who are serving all of us in getting that done. Every day, probably an average of 1,000 people are vaccinated here in Brandon alone, and across the province, many thousands. So this is truly our opportunity. Well, things pushed us into greater restrictions as of this week. I have not been more encouraged and optimistic about this situation than I am right now, purely based on these vaccinations. So I would encourage and implore everyone, when your time comes up, when your opportunity comes up, to take that opportunity as soon as you can with whatever vaccine is made available to you. This I would see, and I would encourage everyone to access credible information, if necessary, even from your own health provider. Don't take it from me or other lay persons or things that you're reading on the internet. Really seek out credible information and satisfy yourself about the safety and efficacy of these vaccinations. This really is the path to all of us getting our lives back, getting our businesses reopened, getting our children back in the classroom where they belong, and finally seeing a sense of normalcy. So I have with me today, and I think it's his first broadcast, our emergency manager here for the City of Brandon, Mr. Tobin Prasnik, and he's going to give us an update on numerous aspects throughout the city operations concerning the pandemic restrictions. Tobin?
Thank you, Your Worship. First off, we want to advise that the Mayor and I and the other staff are currently physical distancing by being on opposite sides of the council chambers and are able to remove our masks because of this. With all the changes in communication coming from the province over the last week, we felt it was important to provide an update from our Emergency Operations Centre on the status of our city services and facilities. As the Mayor alluded, the Emergency Operations Centre was activated back in March 2020. We are only 1 day short of 14 months. However, COVID-19 pandemic planning began much sooner than March by your previous emergency coordinator, Brian Kays. Brian officially retired back in late 2020, and I feel it's only appropriate to acknowledge once again all the work he has done for our city as the emergency coordinator, which includes all the front-end work of research and planning for this COVID-19 pandemic and its first 7 months of the response. I am extremely fortunate to have had inherited such a great emergency preparedness program that includes the Brandon Emergency Support Team and the city's response team that is called the Emergency Response Control Group to deal with any emergency the city may face. The Emergency Response Control Group is made up of the city departments and managers. It is the same group that has been activated and engaged since COVID-19 pandemic started last March. Normally, during an emergency, we would be operating out of our EOC in person, but due to COVID restrictions and the risks that they bring in close quarters, we continue to operate virtually through a Teams platform. Our process as a municipality is we receive the updates and public health orders at the same time as everyone else. As the province releases and communicates changes to the public health orders, the Emergency Response Control Group completes an immediate review and will determine the impact to our facilities and services, where we will communicate these changes to everyone through our community with public service announcements and social media platforms. And then we'll also assess the impact to our internal COVID procedures and processes, where we would make necessary adjustments to continue to keep our workplace and community safe. Follow-up and work with public health will further gather additional clarification. As we quickly go through the updated May 9th public health orders, we will highlight the specific orders that will impact our facilities and services. First off, private residents, no visitors allowed in either indoor or outdoor spaces except for specific exemptions, including 1 visitor for people who live alone. Indoor gatherings, no indoor gatherings permitted. Outdoor gatherings on public property limited to a maximum of 5 people, including household members. No outdoor gatherings permitted on private property. With the maximum outdoor decreased back down to 5, the Parks Department made the necessary changes and replaced all signage within the city yesterday. As our goal, it is to continue to provide the most accurate messaging that reflect the current public health orders. As for weddings and funerals, up to 10 people plus photographer and officiants. Restaurants and bars and patios and seating areas for food courts in malls, shopping centers will close to in-person dining, but sites can provide takeout and delivery services. If you can, we encourage everyone to continue to support our great local restaurants through their takeout and delivery options. Drive-in services and events, they are permitted. Outdoor sports and recreation, who also took another hit for our city. 5-person limit applies to practices. Organized team games are not permitted. For bookings and questions in regards to the use of the City Brandon sports fields and group sizes, please contact Parks at 204-729-2148 or parks@brandon.ca. We know a number of our associations are currently working on updating the return to play documents so they can continue to use the facilities. The Sportsplex track will remain open for individual use and for group use with a maximum 5-person. The signage has already been updated to reflect this change. Retail, markets, garden centers, and malls open at 10% with a capacity up to a maximum of 100 persons. Mall capacity limit of up to 10% of the facility capacity. Self-help groups, 10-person maximum. And this is the unfortunate part the province announced were additional closures and impacts is gyms and fitness centers are now closed, casinos and VLTs are closed, museums, galleries, libraries, movie theaters, concert halls, community, cultural, and religious gatherings, personal services, indoor sports and recreation, dance, theater, music schools, and day camps. Back to the indoor sports and recreation and how we're affected. With the release of the public health orders, the Recreation Department acted quickly by contacting all future bookings and advised them of the closure of the Brandon Community Sportsplex that took place Saturday, May 8th at 12:30 after the last day's booking. Signage is placed on the entrances of the facility to reflect the closure. However, those who continue to use the daycare in the facility will remain open as per the public health orders. Now to quickly look at some of the city departments and how they're operating. The water treatment plant, wastewater treatment plant will remain closed to the public. Additional measures have been put in place. All deliveries to the plants are supervised and the breakdown of smaller cohorts were established for the last few months to minimize contacts within the workplace. There continues to be a backup plan in place to ensure the supply of safe drinking water continues during if a COVID-19 outbreak happens to impact any of the workers. Brandon Police Service. It is open, however, access continues to be supervised prior to entry. On top of regular duties, the Brandon Police Service continues to support both the provincial and federal governments to enforce COVID regulations. Federally, they have followed up with travelers to confirm they are self-isolating for the required 14 days, and provincially, they continue to follow up on concerns with individuals who are not following the public health orders. They are notified through the provincial COVID tip line. Brandon Fire Emergency Services, Fire Hall Number 1. COVID procedures are in place upon entry. However, public tours, babysitting courses, and car seat inspections are currently suspended. Fire Hall Number 2 remains closed to the public. Brandon Fire Emergency Services maintains close contact with Shared Health to make the necessary adjustments to processes and procedures within their daily operations as the COVID-19 continues to evolve. E911 communications. As a preventative measure, the operators work in smaller cohorts between the main call center and the backup call center to minimize close contacts. Public Works remains open. City workers continue to wear masks and physical distance and established additional protocols to protect you and themselves if there's ever a time when they are required to enter your residence. The Eastview Landfill and Eastview Landfill Admin Building also remain open. The sanitation department continues to run smoothly with COVID procedures as part of their daily life. The landfill is running on normal hours for this time of year. Transportation Department continues to remain open. The airport continues to operate under FAA regulations with the requirement of masks upon entry. A reminder that masks are mandatory on all public transit. For your safety, these units continue to be double sanitized each day with a wipe down and a fog sanitizer spray. Parks and Recreation. As you can see, we've got a bit of a list of closures. However, just because these facilities are closed, if you have any inquiries, questions for the department on future bookings, procedures, upcoming planned events, please reach out to Parks and Recreation Department. The facility is closed. However, there's a lot of work taking place as we plan for the reopening when we get the green light to do so. A.R. McDermott Civics Complex, my apologies, A.R. McDermott Civic Complex remains open. For those who have not attended one of the city's buildings, the bottom right-hand picture on the slide provides you with an example of the COVID procedures that have been put in place at the A.R. McDermott Civic Complex. Upon entry, it includes self-screening, ability to hand sanitize, signage, and barriers. Not all city facilities look exactly the same, but have adopted COVID procedures to meet the current public health orders and keep our employees and community safe when in the facility. City Hall remains open. You are required to enter City Hall from the north door off Louise Avenue. You'll be asked to hand sanitize, and somebody will greet you near the entrance. They will ask if you're feeling well and ask the standard COVID-related question as part of our screening process. They will ask you where you're heading in City Hall and will assist you and provide directions or contact the individual who you might be meeting with. You can expect signage, barriers to maintain physical distancing and minimize contact. Finally, once you've completed your business at City Hall, there are directional arrows to show you the exit through the front doors on 9th Street. A couple other changes that we've adjusted is council meetings have now gone virtual until further notice. And we've also included this with public hearings that also go virtual. Councillor Barry, a few weeks back, demonstrated this a few weeks ago in regards to his ward in 7, and the feedback has worked well. His Worship talked about vaccine eligibility as of May 10th. We wanted to provide an update that we felt it was important to remind everybody of the change on this eligibility for vaccinations. Age plus 30 are now eligible. Age 18 plus for First Nation people. Age 18 plus for frontline police officers and firefighters. Individuals age 18 and older who work in these healthcare settings. The AstraZeneca vaccine continues to be available to anyone aged 40 plus. And is also available for those between 30 and 39 that meet the specific health requirements. The community eligibility, there are 2 target community groups, is Brandon Downtown and Brandon East. If you want more information, please go to the Manitoba website in regards to eligibility. And I think it would go, finally, I think we cannot go without an update without reinforcing our fundamentals, is please stay home when you're sick or not feeling well. Continue to wear a mask, continue to physical distance, continue to wash your hands and hand sanitize, continue to stay informed on the status of COVID-19 and the current public health orders. For more information, please go to the website, Manitoba website, www.manitoba.ca/COVID-19. Back to you, Your Worship.
Well, thank you very much, Tovin. That was a extremely comprehensive update, certainly about kind of all things COVID in our area, especially with the status of most City of Brandon facilities and services. Again, we don't like to have to curtail some services, especially as we're coming into the nicer weather in the summer season, but we will continue to do what is necessary to keep folks safe. Now, I know everyone is kind of sick of hearing all the cliches and sports analogies and so on and so forth, so I'm going to avoid piling them on, but I will say at the very beginning, this was described as a marathon. So that certainly has played out. Now, I've never run a marathon. I've never been in a triathlon, but I have volunteered on the sidelines to help hand out water and nourishment to those who are in the run, and to help kind of cheer them on as they get closer and closer to the finish line. So I find myself in that position once again with this pandemic. I really do believe that the finish line is in sight. It won't serve any of us well to get discouraged and feel that the finish line is never going to come. I know that the marathon runners would probably quit if somebody wasn't on the sideline saying, hey, there's only 2 miles to go, and you think, oh my God, I can do this. So we can all do this. We're that close to the finish line by virtue of these vaccinations that are coming on by the thousands every day in our province. So I encourage everyone to truly hang in there. Let's not quit this close to the finish line. We need to just stick with the fundamentals, as Tobin has just reminded us all of them. We're quite familiar with them. We're well practiced in them. We got to just hang in there a little longer. I hate to say that, but I will say I am the most hopeful that I've been through this whole pandemic. We can get our summer back. We can get some normalcy back into our lives if we just all stick together, get these vaccines when necessary, follow these fundamentals, and we will make it. I really, truly believe that, and I sure hope everyone shares that with me and does your own little part to help tamp back this pandemic and get on with our lives. So thank you for tuning in. Please stay abreast of current and credible information. Just stick with it. Be vigilant. Be safe. Be extra kind as we come down this home stretch. And I thank you for tuning in.